Good morning, this is the Desert Shaman, in the Shaman's Den in southern Nevada. Well, I thought I would play a bit of the Newsboy today with commentary, because there was a situation that happened yesterday, in case you haven't heard, about the terrorist attack in Moscow, right in the center of Moscow. And they always do these things on a Friday. It's planned that way. They do things on a Friday because on the weekend, there's less news, both on the alternative, quote-unquote, media and on the mainstream media. It's not a big day for people to do videos and that kind of thing. So they plan these things purposely just to, eliminate the possibility of people coming on full force with the news about it. But what happened was there was a terrorist attack, and I think the death toll is beyond 100 now, up in 120, somewhere around there. Innocent civilians in a concert venue in Moscow, right in the center. Got a bunch of guy in camis with automatic weapons coming in and just mowing people down. Innocent men, women, and children. Yes, children too. Who are out to just relax, have a good time in Moscow. And Moscow is very upscale. It's very beautiful. It's very relaxed. And people felt at ease by going to a musical concert. And here comes the terrorists in with their automatic weapons, just mowing people down. Not only did they mow people down, but they set fire to a beautiful, beautiful building. Concert venue, and just a place to meet and a place for families to relax and that type of thing. Well, I knew right away, immediately, there's no doubt about it, despite what people say, that Ukraine and its cohorts or backers, or the West or the CIA or MI6 or that whole group of criminal minds were behind this. Now, I picked up on some intel from other channels yesterday that I fully agree with. Number one, the State Department came out an hour after this happened, 1 hour, and said Ukraine wasn't responsible. That's like them saying Ukraine is responsible. Because an hour after an incident like that, you have no way of knowing who's responsible and who isn't. Even the FSB in which is the equivalent of the CIA in Russia, hadn't gathered all the facts yet. But I must say, they moved rather swiftly on this, as they always do. So, for the State Department to come out and say, oh, yeah, well, this Ukraine didn't do this. Honest, they didn't. What a slapped-ass, jerk-ass, jerk-off statement to make. It's like saying, yeah, we knew about this, and they did. They had foreknowledge of it. Here's another interesting fact. About 2 weeks before this happened, 2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, the UK and the American embassies came out with a statement that warned any American citizens in Russia or Moscow to avoid quote, concert venues or public places because of a possible terrorist activities, all right? Add all this up, people. Put 2 and 2 together. It's not rocket science here. So you got them coming out saying that, oh, and let's add another bit of information to the mix. Victoria Nuland, who just resigned and who was the orchestrator of the Maidan coup back in 2014, orchestrated the whole, basically what amounts to why Russia felt it had to defend itself. The bitch behind the darkness and evil of the wars and the revolutions and coups. Right before she resigned, she made some statement about Ukraine and the whole situation over there. And out of her mouth popped the phrase, Putin is in for some nasty surprises. Putin is in for some nasty surprises. And everybody at the time was going, wonder what that means. Because obviously it couldn't mean on the battlefield, because Ukraine has got their asses handed to them. And there is no nasty surprises that could appear as far as conventional warfare and battlefield warfare, because all the nasty surprises have been blown to smithereens. And again, Ukraine is getting their asses handed to them. And as of late, it's even more intense, because Russia just unleashed an onslaught of missiles on Kiev and all the infrastructure of the major cities and towns around Kiev and around Kharkov and around the oblasts of Donbass and Luhansk and all that whole area. They took out a whole lot of, they took out the complete infrastructure of the missile defense system. So she couldn't have meant there was nasty surprises in store, because on the battlefield, because of these facts that I mentioned. So you got her mouthing off with her sewer mouth about nasty surprises for Russia or Putin, and then you got the warning, okay, of the UK and the American embassies saying for Americans to stay away from these certain venues and public places, and then you got the idiot Blinken coming out and saying an hour later after this happened, Ukraine didn't do it. Why don't they just fucking come right out and say, we're going to plan a terrorist attack and you better get out of there, and we're going to do it. Or Ukraine is going to do it, or Ukraine with CIA training and operatives on our behalf is going to commit an atrocity and kill innocent civilians in Moscow. So there you have it. Like I say, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this shit out. You know, you have death and destruction and destroying of a beautiful building. Why? Because they can't win the war. The war is lost. And so they're getting desperate now. And desperation calls for desperate measures. And desperate measures are taking advantage, okay, of innocent civilians who are just out to have a good time, to enjoy music, to have a nice Friday night and relax and not maybe think about the war or what's going on concerning the country over there, Russia, with other nations. So they're just out to relax, and what happens? A bunch of cowards. Anybody that would go in and attack innocent civilians, okay, even in the name of war or whatever, are the lowest life scum cowards that you could ever imagine on the face of the earth. And this is just a sign of what's going on in the world at large and in the consciousness of the planet. Or not the consciousness of the planet, excuse me, the consciousness of people on the planet. So there you have it. In a nutshell, is that's the summation of what went on here. And again, I'm doing this. I don't usually just do a news thing without some kind of commentary, and I may get to that in a minute, but I did this because, when you go on and look at alternative media or anything else, it's all subdued on the weekend. And again, they plan this stuff on Friday just so that, by Monday, it'll be downplayed, or it'll be, people have the memory of a gnat. Okay, they have the attention span of a gnat. So, and there's so much violence going on in the world. You might hear a heater going on back here. Bear with me. It's a little chilly here in the morning in Sandy Valley, Nevada. Beautiful last couple of days, though. Just incredibly beautiful days. Very relaxing days. Except for personal bullshit that I've been going through, but that's another matter. Nothing to be concerned about, that's for sure. So again, this is an indication of the higher level, the things that are going on a higher level, on a spiritual level with the planet. And this affects everybody. I mean, this is any kind of event like this will affect anybody on a mass consciousness or a collective consciousness level. Even if they don't hear about it on the news, or even if it doesn't present itself on, let's say, the mainstream media, or even if a lot of stuff is covered up, it still is a glitch in the collective consciousness of the masses of humanity as a whole. There's an old saying that if a butterfly takes off from a flower in China, it will just that simple act will cause a stir or cause a slight change or a slight effect. The butterfly effect will cause the whole planet to shift a minute amount, a millionth of a millionth of a millionth of a degree or whatever. So you can imagine what incidents like this have on the planet. And so we got incidents like this, and then we got incidents like the Gaza incident, which is getting ready to even get more brutal and more horrific, with Israel murdering innocent civilians and preparing to go into Rafah, which is in the southern part of Gaza, where they told all the people, when they first moved into Gaza, they told the people in the northern part of Gaza to evacuate and go to the south so that they could get out of harm's way of the bombing and stuff. Then what do? Well, when everybody gets down in the south, they decide to launch an offensive down in the south, in Rafah, where everybody has congregated and where they have been told to get away and hide in that area and they'd be okay. When in reality, they want them all in one group, in one area, so that they can kill them all at once, slaughter them all at once, these harebrained, criminal-minded Israelis, Zionists, who have no compassion whatsoever for human life. and do it blatantly and in your face. Meanwhile, we got the dog and pony show of the Biden administration and Blinken and that whole crew putting on some kind of act like they really care about civilians and talking about humanitarian relief and all this stuff, and acting like they want Netanyahu out, as indicated by the little speech that Schumer gave about, yeah, it's time for Netanyahu to go, but they don't tell you that the guy waiting in the wings is probably just as bad, if not worse, by his own statements as far as eliminating certain groups of people, Palestinians, and ethnic cleansing, and their God-induced coma, their biblical God-induced coma as to what's permitted by God's chosen people to slaughter innocents and even infants. Yeah, this is in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Mentioned it many times before. So we have mass slaughter and murder and innocent civilians in Moscow, in your face, right out front. They don't seem to want to hide that. You know, in fact, they telegraph this shit. I mean, you know, saying the things that they say and the disclaimers that they put up, they actually telegraph and verify the fact that they are involved in this kind of stuff. And then as far as the Gaza thing goes, it's a complete hoax and a complete lie as far as what their narrative is. One minute they want to be good guys, and the next minute they want to be bad guys. Oh, we want Netanyahu out, or there should be more humanitarian aid, or whatever, which is all just a blatant fucking lie. Because if they really wanted that, they wouldn't be sending weapons. All the weapons that the Israelis get are basically supplied by the West and supplied by America. And so that right there is a major hypocritical statement, or let's say defense, or whatever. So, you know, you put all these things together, and what does it add up to? Well, it adds up to, if you're living in this country, the United States, or, you know, the West, as it's called, if you're living here, then you're watching your country not only get involved in foreign wars, perpetrating terrorist attacks in Moscow. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind about this, because this morning the FSB, or the equivalent of the CIA in Russia, had captured at least 8 of the terrorists, and guess what? They were in a little Renault French car, by the way, heading towards the border of Ukraine. They were just about there, and the Russians swooped in on them and got them all. I think maybe there might be a few stragglers that they didn't get. But you wouldn't be heading for the border of Ukraine. You couldn't even get across the border unless, you know, you had some kind of a little password or whatever. Yeah, we're the guys that did this, or a car plate number or something where they just let them on through. There would be no reason to head to the border of Ukraine. So that's very evident that that's who's behind this, okay? It's very evident. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in Putin's mind. There's no doubt in the Russian people's minds. So what is this going to lead to as far as the ramping up of the war, or the escalation of the war in Ukraine? Well, it remains to be seen what Putin will do about this, although I know one thing, he cares very, very dearly about Moscow. He cares very dearly about the Russian people. He just got elected almost in a landslide, 87% approval or something. He just got reelected to president of Russia, or prime minister or head of Russia. I'm not sure what the name, the official label is, the leader. He just got reelected, and that was sad to the West. Now, here's another thing that might factor into this, probably does factor into it. In fact, I'm almost sure it factors into it. Why would this happen like 2 days after an election and an approval of Putin by the Russian people? Why would it happen at that particular time? Another coincidence that is not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. Not when you're not in life, or not anywhere near this type of situation is it a coincidence that it would happen that soon after his massive approval rating and win in the elections, because they want Putin out. So by some weird stretch of the imagination, they think that because of this happening, that somehow that's going to make the Russian people leery, or wonder why they reelected Putin or whatever. And as a matter of fact, it has just the opposite effect. The Russian people are not like that. The Russian people are a group of people that, when confronted with a situation like this, band together, unlike Americans. Okay, they band together and even support the person that has decided to create a special military operation, and now it's being called a war, by the way. They would back that person, not desert that person, okay? And the fact that now this is another bit of information. Now it has come out that the Russians are now officially saying that this has, they've been saying all along that it's a special military operation, limited operation to basically restore neutrality in Ukraine, so that there's no threat to their borders. But now they have come out and said that it has evolved, okay, because of the West's involvement with the CIA and the weapons and the uptick of rhetoric from idiots like Macron in France and other people saying that they're going to send in NATO troops, and we're going to send in NATO troops so they can get slaughtered. We're going to send in NATO troops to Odessa, which is one of the key places in Ukraine where it's by the ocean, and if Russia takes that, which they will, then Ukraine becomes a nothing state, or rump state they call it. Can't get any sea commerce going in, can't get anything going. It's just basically a desolate island of depravity, filled with Nazis, all right? So that's what's going down, people. I'm filling in the blanks here for the idiots that yap all week long about the news with no answers, or no spiritual slant on it. I always get a bit of that in, regardless. So I just thought I would fill in the blanks here and fill you in if you were looking for this. Not that a bunch of people are going to come to my channel, but it serves my purpose of informing. Not that a bunch of people are going to come to this channel, like I said in my last video, because I've always been truthful, because I've always taken this tack, because I've always been there for you people in situations like that, giving you all kinds of slants and both sides of the story, and the spiritual and metaphysical and the actual event itself. Because of my past record of always being truthful, this channel has been shadow banned or blocked. I call it shadow blocked, which is a little bit different than shadow ban, because shadow ban means just ban, but they don't just ban me. What they do is they block any interest, or block subscribers, or block comments. That's how they work, okay? They do it silently, covertly. So if you think I'm worth it, please change the algorithms a bit if you can by giving this a thumbs up, subscribing, and maybe donating now and then to the cause of, to my cause of being able to stay with this, stay doing videos and that type of thing. I'll put a connection in the show notes to spiritofcrazyhorse.com. And if you will, donate what you can. Hell, $5 helps, you know. Anywhere from $5 on up, you know. Now, my usual policy is I give a free book out. My award-winning book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart. Spiritually based, indigenous based type of information. I usually give that out, but with $10 or more. But you know, I come to the conclusion. Some man gave me $7, and I went, wow, you know, $7 to some people is a lot of money. It's a lot of money if they can't afford it, and I thank you, Jordan, for that. If you're watching, I know you're a faithful watcher, and I figured, well, you know, they deserve the book just as much as anybody else. So I'll just make it, if you give any kind of donation, you're going to get a copy of my book, period, and it's worth $20. But it, you know, it's a PDF version, so it's not like a hard copy that I'll send you. It's a PDF through the email, but it's still my book. So anyway, on that note, I think I'll leave it there. Keep this video short. Just want to jump on here. I think I'm going to do an upcoming video real soon here on revolution. When is it necessary, and what are the rights and wrongs of it, and maybe a little bit about the history of it, and is it overdue here? So until then, I'll say adios, and have a good weekend. Have a wonderful weekend.